Hello, my friends. It's Chris with Acting Creative, and this is A Handwoven Experience, episode 52. And in this episode, we're going to talk about replacing a warp yarn. Yep, we've all had those bad days when we're weaving along and all of a sudden we hear a little ping or a give in the fabric. Something happens that alerts you that all is not right in weaving land. So you look down, you see, yep, warp yarn is broken. But don't panic. I repeat, do not panic. It'll be okay. I'm going to walk you through a really easy way to replace your warp yarn in the project so you can get back to weaving in no time. So here's what you'll need. First of all, you'll need a replacement yarn. I recommend that when you are done winding your project on the warping board, leave your guide string on there so you know exactly what length it is. But measure like a whole length. No matter where you're on the project, it's okay. If you have a few extra inches at the end, it's all good. It's better than agonizing over the length. So just measure a whole new warp yarn for yourself. You'll need some kind of a safety pin or a straight pin. I like a safety pin because it won't catch on the fabric as you're unrolling it later on. And you'll need something to weight it off the back of the loom. I have old film canisters that I just put a couple coins in there, but these are kind of hard to find these days. Use a pill bottle. That's a great idea. What you need is something that has a really tight lid that protrudes a little bit from the body so you can kind of wrap the yarn around it. And you'll see how that works in just a minute, but that's all you need to replace it. So here's how we're gonna start. We're gonna take our replacement warp thread here, and basically we need to follow the same path from the back to the front. So this is the end that we're gonna work with. I'm just gonna kind of dangle it off the back for now. And I see that it went through, let's see, this heddle right here. So pull out the old stuff, that's not gonna matter now. Put it through your heddle, and then it has to go through the reed. So find the spot that it went through. Let's see, just like that. And we're just gonna take this little end here, we're just gonna pin it. It is pretty much just that simple. Keep that guy out of the way if you can. And let's see here. Do a little pinning action, try to catch it in a couple spots. All right, there we go. Now, part of the idea is you want to keep the pin out of the way of where the shuttle will go when you start to work things in. But you're good on this end now. So meet me at the back of the loom and I'll show you how to hang the weights off there. Okay, here we are at the back of the loom. I'm going to show you kind of where everything goes. So this was our broken warp yarn here, and I'm just going to let it dangle off the back. And you kind of unwind it as you progress the project, because we're not going to need this anymore. We can use it for something else later. So now we've got, this is our replacement warp yarn here. Here are our weights, or whatever you're using for weights. At the very end of your replacement warp yarn, put a little circle, slide it on. You want to make sure that it's kind of catches under the lid there. Come around this way. Wind, wind, wind. And then when you get closer to the top, here's what I like to do. Let's see if I can explain it. You know, it's one of those things I do intuitively, but I don't teach it all the time. So here we go. Okay, so have your weights in one hand. With the other hand, I want you to make a little loop like this, right? And your canister is gonna sneak around the back and through the loop, and you're gonna pull just like that. See if it works. Come on, there we go. So this is a nice way, it's just like a little, I don't want to say a slip knot, but it is something that you can easily adjust as you progress and you need to let out more and more inches of your replacement warp yarn. So this then is going to hang off the back and give you equal tension then as you go through the rest of your project. Now, at the very front of the project, you know how we pinned it in place? When you're all finished, take the pin out and just work those yarns so that they share the same space in your fabric, just like you would if you were placing, putting a new color in the weft, how you kind of wrap it around. Just kind of, they'll just disappear into the fabric. And it is just that easy, my friends. It doesn't have to be complicated. Use whatever you can to weight things off the back, and off you go. No big deal. What broken warp yarn? You are good to go. So hopefully that helps the next time you run into a little challenge just like that, because we all have those days, believe me. Have a great week, my friends. Happy weaving.